Imagine this. A huge plane, packed, starting its takeoff. Totally routine.
Yeah, the sound we all know, that climb.
And then silence. Catastrophe. In just 32 seconds.
It's almost hard to fathom. That's the story of Air India flight AI-171.
Such a chillingly short timeline. It really hits home how fast things can go wrong in these, well, incredibly complex systems like aviation.
Absolutely. And that's why this deep dive, it isn't just a news update. We're really trying to examine the facts, the initial findings, and the huge impact human societal from this crash in Ahmedabad.
Exactly. That wider impact is key.
Yeah.
So our mission today, it's not just reporting facts. We want to really get into the source material you've given us.
Right. The official reports, victim accounts, all of it.
Yeah, to give you a clear, really concise understanding of what went down, what we actually know right now, and frankly, why it matters so much. So let's dig in.
Okay. The basics are starkly precise. Air India flight AI-171. It was a Boeing 7878 Dreamliner.
A Dreamliner, right.
Registration VTANB. That's its unique ID, like a car's plate, basically. It was flying Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, June 12th, 2025.
And the timing.
Departed around 1:39 p.m. local time, IST, and crashed just 32 seconds later, 1:04 p.m. IST. That's 08.09 UTC for global reference.
32 seconds. Just let that sink in. I mean, that gives the crew virtually no time.
No time to react, troubleshoot, barely time for a distress signal, if that.
So what does that speed tell us about these kinds of rapid onset events in aviation? It's terrifying.
It highlights the absolute critical nature of every single second in those initial flight phases, and the crash site location that adds another layer.
Yeah, tell us about that.
The plane hit the BJ Medical College hostel in Ahmedabad's Magani Nagar area, only about 1.5 kilometers from the runway.
So close. And immediately that means the tragedy wasn't just contained to the plane.
Exactly. It spread instantly to the ground. The human cost is just immense, and it hits on multiple fronts.
Let's talk numbers first. On board.
Okay, on board. 242 people. That was 230 passengers and 12 crew members.
And the fatalities on board.
Tragically, 241 lives lost from the aircraft itself.
Almost everyone. But, as you said, the impact went beyond the plane's wreckage.
Crucially, yes. The impact with the medical college hostel, it caused another 19 fatalities on the ground.
19 people in the hostel. Just awful.
And 67 others injured there on site. It really underscores how these disasters can ripple out, into communities that had no connection to the flight itself.
It's a part of the story that sometimes gets overshadowed, isn't it? The sheer chance of being in the wrong place at the wrong time on the ground.
Definitely. And amidst all this loss, there's this single, almost unbelievable element. One survivor from the plane.
Right. Tell us about him.
Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a British national, Indian origin. He was in seat 11A.
And his condition?
Physically stable, according to reports. But importantly, the source of stress, he's getting psychological care. Understandable, given the shock.
Of course. It just highlights those invisible wounds, doesn't it? Survival carries its own heavy burden.
It really does. Now, shifting to the investigation, what's quite remarkable here is how quickly things started moving, how fast they got some initial clarity.
Who's leading the charge on that?
India's AAIB, the Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, they're working closely with the U.S. NTSB, the National Transportation Safety Board.
Standard procedure when a U.S.-made plane is involved.
Exactly. And Boeing, the manufacturer, is also collaborating. Their efficiency, especially in retrieving the key recorders, was pretty notable.
Which brings us to that really critical preliminary report, the one released July 8th.
Yes. That report contained a bombshell finding, really.
What was it?
It indicated that both engines lost thrust completely because the fuel control switches were moved to the queued-off position.
Cut off. Wow. Okay, what does that actually mean in practical terms during takeoff?
It means you're shutting off the fuel supply to the engines instantly.
Yeah.
It's not like throttling back. It's like turning off the tap completely. Total power loss.
So finding that specific action so early, that must have immediately focused the investigation, right?
Absolutely. For a modern jet like the 787, moving those switches, especially right after takeoff, it's highly unusual and catastrophic. It points directly to an action inside the cockpit.
Not some external event or gradual failure.
Less likely, based on this finding. And what makes it even more chilling is what came from the cockpit voice recorder.
What did they hear?
The recordings apparently captured confusion, distress. You can only imagine. One pilot was reportedly heard questioning the switch action itself.
Questioning it, as in, why were these moved? Or did you move these?
The report suggests something along those lines, followed shortly by a Mayday call. It raises immediate, very serious questions about why those switches were moved. Was it deliberate? Was it a catastrophic mistake?
Or something else entirely.
Experts are digging into exactly that: intentional action, a mistake under pressure, maybe some unforeseen mechanical factor influencing the switches, though the initial findings seem to point away from a purely mechanical failure causing the switch movement.
It's complex. And the sources also mention pilot mental health and the design of procedures are being looked at.
Yes, those are active lines of inquiry. It highlights that in modern aviation, accidents are rarely down to one single thing. It's often a chain of events involving human factors, technology, procedures.
A whole system perspective.
Precisely. And getting back to the investigation's speed recovering the black boxes was key.
How quickly did they find them?
Within 28 hours, both the flight data recorder, which tracks the plane's parameters, and the cockpit voice recorder.
That's fast and crucial for understanding those last seconds.
Invaluable. It gives investigators a window, albeit a tragic one, into exactly what happened in those critical final moments.
Now let's put this into context historically. This is a major event for India, isn't it?
It's one of the deadliest air crashes in India in recent decades, yes. But there's another significant point, globally speaking.
Which is?
This is the first fatal hull loss for a Boeing 787 Dreamliner anywhere in the world.
First ever. Can you clarify hull loss for us?
Sure. Hull loss just means the aircraft itself is destroyed or damaged so badly it's beyond economic repair. It doesn't necessarily correlate directly with fatalities, but in this case, obviously, it was catastrophic.
So this crash specifically, involving a Dreamliner, sends ripples through the entire global aviation industry.
Definitely. Operators worldwide will be watching this investigation very closely.
Now, the aftermath. It must be incredibly difficult for the families, particularly around identifying victims.
It's agonizing. Imagine the grief compounded by waiting for confirmation. The reports say the damage was so severe for many victims that DNA testing is absolutely essential.
And how's that process going?
Slowly, painstakingly. As of the latest reports we have, only 11 victims have been positively identified. Sample collection is still ongoing. It just speaks to the sheer violence of the impact.
It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And financially, is there support being offered?
Yes, Air India has provided interim relief. Reports mention 25 lakh for families of over 147 passengers. Some reports suggest higher amounts, up to 1.25 crore in certain cases, likely depending on individual circumstances.
Okay, that's Indian rupees.
Yeah.
And the Tata Group, they own Air India now, right?
Correct. The Tata Group has also stepped in, establishing a welfare trust to support the dependents of those lost. These are important gestures, of course, but
They can't replace the lives lost.
never. And adding to the family's pain, there's this deeply concerning issue, the repatriation controversy.
What's happening there? It sounds awful.
It really is. There are multiple reports, particularly from the UK, alleging that incorrect remains, or remains that were commingled mixed together, were sent back to grieving families.
Oh no. How was this discovered?
Through DNA checks conducted in the UK after the remains arrived, families expecting closure faced, well, another layer of trauma.
I can't even imagine. What's the reaction been?
Understandably, UK coroners and lawyers representing the families are demanding much greater transparency and better oversight from the Indian authorities handling the identification and repatriation process. It shakes your trust in the system at the worst possible time.
Absolutely. This tragedy, its impact, clearly goes far beyond the families directly involved, doesn't it? It affects public confidence.
We're definitely seeing that. Reports indicate a noticeable spike in aviophobia, fear of flying.
People canceling flights, seeking help.
Yes, increased therapy visits, flight cancellations. It's being reported across India. The sudden, violent nature of this, so close to takeoff, has clearly unnerved people.
And that public unease often translates into pressure, right?
It does. There's growing public and political pressure now for a really thorough, transparent investigation. People want answers.
And accountability.
Exactly. Victims' families are being very vocal. The father of one victim, Sanket Goswami, for instance, has formally demanded justice and accountability from the authorities. It's not just about finding out how it happened anymore.
It's about ensuring responsibility is taken, lessons are learned, preventing it from happening again.
Precisely. That's the core demand now.
So, as we sort of wrap up this deep dive, it's really clear this isn't just one single event. It's a whole complex web.
Technical questions, yes, but also deep human factors and this huge emotional and societal fallout that's still very much playing out.
Understanding it isn't just about listing the facts, is it? It's about seeing those connections.
How one single moment, barely half a minute, can trigger consequences that stretch from global aviation safety discussions right down to individual trauma and community grief.
So maybe the final thought for you listening to this, given how incredibly fast this happened, seemingly triggered by a critical action or error, what does that really tell us about those razor-thin safety margins we often just assume are there in complex systems?
It's a sobering reminder of the constant vigilance required, and maybe also, what does accountability truly mean when faced with loss on this scale? Beyond reports and compensation, what does it really look like?
Something important to reflect on, definitely, long after the news cycle moves on.